How responsible are you for improving your English fluency? And do you even know how learning to speak English fluently works? Let me take you to a better place because it's a little bit too dark over there. Everything boils down to this one thing that we call responsibility. And if you often get frustrated with not making progress in English, this video will help you take a deep look at what you're doing for your English fluency and what you could do better so you can get to that level of English where you speak English fluently, confidently, and communicate effectively. First, let me share with you the two principles that I live by that helped me become a fluent, confident English speaker by the age of 20, and the same principles that help inspire and encourage my students to make massive progress with their fluency and gain confidence along the way. You can't complain about the results you don't have from the work you don't put in. And everything is 100% possible as long as I'm 100% responsible for it. And I want you to keep these two in mind because your level of responsibility greatly affects the results you have with your English fluency skills. Your English, why is my head looking like it's going to get out of the screen very soon? Your English is your responsibility. And just like for so many people before you who have become fluent and confident in English, communicating effectively in English can literally transform your life. It has changed mine. It has transformed hundreds and hundreds of students that I have taught and many other people I have seen who took responsibility for their English. Wouldn't you like to be a bilingual, which is a fundamental skill for anyone in the professional field in the 21st century, who can walk into any conversation with confidence, knowing what to say, and has access to that promotion or the ability to travel, work, live anywhere in the world. You don't have to worry about all the language barriers because you'll be able to make deeper connections with people who don't speak your first language. The thousands of adults that I have taught and coached all wanted one thing: freedom. The freedom to speak English fluently, express themselves in a way that truly reflects who they are, and speak confidently at meetings, give presentations, or whenever there are people around. But there's one thing they had in common: they were all responsible for their results. So my first thought for you from this video is this: whenever you get frustrated with not making progress in English, always ask yourself instead, what am I not taking responsibility for? Hey English learner, welcome back to my channel. My name is Chubby. I'm an English fluency, learning and language anxiety coach. This is a channel for English learners just like you who want to learn how to make vocabulary more memorable and how to speak English more fluently, confidently and comfortably with the help of improving their listening skills and spoken interaction. So if these are topics you're interested in, you want to find out more about, you can check out some of my previous videos and make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get my weekly updates, long and short form videos as well, where I'll be sharing everything and anything that I think will be very useful for you if you want to improve your English fluency. You probably know that learning English is a marathon, and this one thought helped me a lot in making real massive progress with my English fluency back in my early 20s. And if this is the first time you see me, you probably don't know, I had my own struggles overcoming my fear of judgment, my perfectionism, something I talk about this and in this video as well, if you want to get some insights into how you could overcome that too. That you should always make decisions based on the future outcomes of the actions you take. During the pandemic, when a lot of people were choosing to have English lessons online for the first time, I had this student, let's call him Giacomo, who was running an Italian computer business. So he lost a lot of his clients at that period and was looking for some international clients. But he was struggling a lot with his confidence. A lot of his mistakes were based on him constantly translating word by word. So he decided to take one lesson a week, but then he took breaks like after every 3 or 4 lessons. And then when I told him that eventually it's not going to be enough, that he would need to listen to or read English, not just the things we do in class for that 1 hour per week, He said things like, yeah, I would love to watch a movie with subtitles off, but my girlfriend wouldn't like this, and that's why I'm not doing that. Or things like, I don't like reading. I'm single now, but I'm absolutely sure if I had a girlfriend who wasn't supporting my professional skills development because she feels uncomfortable for that 30 minutes or an hour of watching a movie without subtitles so I can improve my listening skills, I would either say, go watch the series you want without me, or that's just simply not a supportive girlfriend. Not liking to read. This is usually coming from the fact that people don't have the habit of reading. Reading is an amazing way for people to get lost in a different world, much better than social media. So when people think that reading is uncomfortable, what they actually mean is that they are slow at reading, and that's why they don't find a lot of success in that activity. So Giacomo was clearly not responsible for the results he wanted. But then I had this amazing student called Barbara from Venezuela. She was studying to be an English teacher, and she wanted to really make sure that she speaks confidently when she speaks to her future students. But she was hesitating a lot. She was always looking for the perfect words, and she many times spoke really fast because she thought that's what's going to give her confidence. And as a university student, you have a lot of things to do, assignments to send in, plus she also had to help out her mum with all sorts of things. But she still decided to spend 3-4 hours inside my program, the Proficiency Fortress, so she could improve her fluency skills, her active vocabulary skills, and also her listening skills. And besides that, she also decided to spend some time reading books. She read a lot of self-help books that didn't just inspire her every single day, but also helped her build her vocabulary. Plus, she decided to take the subtitles off and start watching videos, series, and movies without subtitles so she could improve her listening skills. That eventually helped her expand her speaking vocabulary as well. She clearly understood the importance of having English habits, which I talk about in this and in this video more as well. How important it is to save as much energy for ourselves as possible by actually building habits, because once you have a habit, you don't have to think whether you're tired, you will do it automatically as it's already part of your day. As she was fully responsible for her English learning, she got amazing results in less than 6 months. Thanks to all the support in our community, guidance, coaching, a lot of materials and resources and courses and challenges, she was able to improve her fluency, express herself with so much more confidence, and with such a wide variety of vocabulary and grammar that resulted in her getting a job at a language school right after she graduated. You're perfectly capable of learning to speak English fluently, just like so many other people before you. But all it requires is responsibility from your side. Struggling English students don't realize that it's simply the physics of our brain. And I talk a lot about effective language learning in this and in this video as well, videos you could watch later. But eventually, your brain is only going to create a new neural pathway, which is basically the pathway responsible for helping you build a new skill, like cooking a meal or riding a bike, speaking English, if you do something. Responsibility is actually something you can get better at. You just need to focus on getting 1% better every single week. Can you do that? And then reflect at the end of every week. How responsible was I? Where did I show up? Where did I not show up for my English learning? And you will see how with this attitude, you will see so much faster results in no time. I would love you to be a successful English communicator, someone who walks into any conversation knowing what to say, not thinking about what other people think, not hesitating, thinking about what the next word is, because you have confidence and a large pool of grammar and vocabulary that you can choose from. So here's the one thing that successful English communicators focus on that helps them stay responsible. They work on their mindset first. If all the grammar and vocabulary, all the information you see available online was enough? Wouldn't you think everybody would be already speaking English at least at a proficient C2 level? I can only speak if I speak perfectly. People are judging what I say or the way I pronounce words. It's so difficult to record myself as a way to practice my speaking skills. Are these true though? I'm sure you're making a few mistakes when you speak your first language too, so why wouldn't you allow yourself the luxury of making mistakes or not always sounding perfect when you're speaking the second language you're learning? And if you think that native English speakers always pronounce words and always say grammatically perfect sentences, then I suggest you have a look at this video.
What does that mean for all of you that has been following me, my teachings?
That will change hearts all around. If that would have been so, we wouldn't have had the problem right after the plague and the Red Sea.
Also, the reality is people judge you far less than you might think. You aren't walking around thinking in every single minute about the mistakes someone might have made at a meeting. So why would anyone spend any second of their day thinking that you're a horrible person, a bad employee, because you made a mistake at a meeting? As a content creator and online business owner who faces criticism on a daily basis, being in the public eye isn't easy at all. And I always remind myself that other people's opinions don't pay my bills and they have got nothing to do with who I am or what I do. With Eleanor Roosevelt's words, you wouldn't worry so much about what others think of you if you realized how seldom they do. It's time to stop holding yourself back from all the opportunities, a better job, a better paying job, an amazing opportunity to travel anywhere and everywhere, make connections with people who don't speak your first language by exposing yourself to the experience of having conversations and doing what now feels difficult for you. Waiting, overthinking, reading more information is really just a waste of your time, no one else's. Building your confidence isn't easy, but it isn't going to be easier if you don't start to work on building 1% of that confidence today. And if you'd like to hear more about how I overcame my confidence issues as someone who used to be extremely shy, sitting at the back of the class, download and read through the ebook I wrote to you, 5 Steps to Confidence in Speaking English, where you'll find actionable items that will help you realize that building your confidence isn't as difficult as you might think. And let's talk about the last one. It's difficult to record myself as a way to practice my English speaking skills. Is it difficult, or is it just that you don't have the habit of it? For example, have you ever spoken on a Zoom call that was being recorded? What's the difference? And if you say you're not doing it because it's difficult, do you think you learned how to walk as a baby because it was easy? And the way I see things, they're never difficult. Speaking English or recording yourself speaking is difficult because you've never actually been willing to overcome the uncomfortable feeling that everyone experiences who builds a new habit that they've never done before. And realizing this could make a huge difference to your fluency and maybe impact any other areas of your life. Maybe day 1 is going to be difficult. Day 2 is going to be challenging. Day 3 is going to be uncomfortable. But if you're willing, and you see, to be willing to do something is a decision that you could make in any second of your life. If you're willing to push through the uncomfortable feelings, you're eventually getting more and more and more used to it until it will feel effortless. Try recording yourself for the next 2 weeks. Come back to this post or write me an email and let me know how it goes. I promise you will see changes. And lastly, successful English communicators know that they don't want to spend their entire lives suffering, struggling with their English fluency. So they've got to build consistency around the things that they find difficult, the things that they need to work on. Consistency is key to any skill building activity, including the skill of communicating in English effectively, which I talk a lot about in this video. And to create those habits, what really helps my clients is start small. So maybe you want to start with recording yourself for just 30 seconds. You get used to that feeling. Or if you only have time to listen to a podcast for 5 minutes because you get frustrated when people speak really fast, do it for 5 minutes a day. Or you could potentially download a language exchange app and just chat with someone who wants to learn your first language for 5 or 10 minutes, just to either get used to the idea that you're using English with someone else, or to really push yourself and use the new expressions, grammar, vocabulary that you've learned to make sure you expand your speaking vocabulary. And if you're looking for opportunities to have conversations with other people, you want to understand a bit more about how to learn more effectively, so you could quickly expand your vocabulary, remember the vocabulary that you want to use in conversations, you can always join our free English community, Build Your Fluency. There's gonna be a link in the description. Click there and I'll see you inside the community. Your takeaway from this video is this. In your English learning journey, you're going to come across a lot of uncomfortable moments, uncomfortable activities you might need to do. Make sure you make decisions considering the future benefits of the actions you take, not how uncomfortable you feel in that moment. What else did you learn from this video? Drop a comment with your biggest takeaway from what you learned and let me know how else I and my future videos, my future content could serve you, so you could become that successful English communicator I was talking about and you're potentially dreaming of becoming. Thank you so much for watching this video. See you in another one. It's time to hold yourself back. No, it's time to hold yourself back. And she read a lot of fuck. The thousands of, come on, thousands. So she really needed to get her confidence up. 5 steps to speaking English. Fuck.